Chicago and Illinois residents just opened their property tax bills and they're through the roof. This didn't happen by accident. Years of poor budgeting, rising pension debt, and lack of financial transparency have pushed taxes higher while services get worse. Under Brandon Johnson and Governor Pritzker and Tony Preckwinkle, taxpayers are paying more and getting less. This isn't about politics. It's about accountability. Hardworking families deserve a government that manage money responsibly instead of pushing people out of our homes. Chicago flips red. We have been screaming this from the rooftop. I told you all, I made several videos. I've told you all that my property taxes, that was one of the gripes I had, was my property taxes doubled, tripled, 60% higher over the years, over the past few years. And we warned you all about this. Even when Brandon Johnson proposed that $300 million property tax hike last year in the budget, and we told those aldermen that we were going to hold them accountable, we've been warning you all about this when they passed that budget last year, that the property taxes are going up. When we told you we're in this $1 billion deficit, and that Brandon Johnson, they have no clue how to bring in money. All these people know how to do. Him, Governor Pritzker, Tony Preckwinkle, is tax, tax, tax. Last year, we told you when we had, Zoe have been telling you all since, I want to say almost 4 years, 3.5 years now, about how they have been laundering this TIF money and giving it to these aldermen for their pet projects, such as their field houses and things like that. But why is it that we are spending the TIF money on those projects when your aldermen, they get $1.5 million a year to fix up the community and things like that that need to be done for the community? Also, property tax, those taxes supposed to go to the schools in the community. How is it that our schools are the poorest ever? We are the far as the educational rate, we're the lowest. Look at the schools. The schools are in such bad shape, mold in these schools, and half of those schools are not even filled to even 50% of capacity. So we have poor schooling, poor education. CTU, we see that even CTU spent $7.7 million on trips, safari trips, just poolside, just chilling with our tax dollars. How is it that our property taxes are steady going up through the roof, but our communities, our schools, everything is looking worse? How is that happening? And we told you, we have not received a forensic audit. That's why we've been so vocal in demanding a forensic audit. They're laundering this TIF money. They're laundering this money amongst themselves. Brandon Johnson is creating. Now we're in a deficit. We're broke. He's creating jobs for his friends. These are 6-figure jobs that he's creating. How and why are you creating jobs when we're broke? But yet, in that budget last year, these aldermen made sure they voted to give themselves a raise. So we're being taxed all while they're spending money, giving themselves raises, making sure their friends, they create new jobs. Brandon Johnson create new jobs for his friends, all on our expense. We're paying for this, and our property taxes are steady going up. Yet you're spending money on illegal aliens. You never said you're going to stop giving them those free benefits. We know because Illinois is paying $1.5 billion maybe 2 billion, between 1.5 billion and 2 billion for illegal aliens, free healthcare, free daycare, free housing, free food, all of that. We're paying for that. So they haven't said anything about stopping the funds for illegal aliens, but yet we're being taxed. Property taxes are through the roof. We are being taxed. And they're illegal aliens, they're giving them free legal services. They're creating no ICE zones. All of these cost money. The signage on these businesses, the windows, this costs money. We're paying for that. Yet our taxes are going through the roof. I told you all, Chicago flips red. We've been trying to tell you all what's going on. I told you all. I said our taxes, you think the property taxes are not going up? They're steady going up. You think they're not? Come to these budget meetings. That's why we are at these budget meetings. That's why we are at all of these the Cook County Board meetings with Tony Prattwinkle. That's why we are there, because we need to see where our money is going, because we have not yet received no audits or anything. So they're just laundering, stealing the money, and they are not being held accountable. Now, all of a sudden, you all are shocked, because when you all open your property tax bills, you see that they have tripled. When we've been shouting this for years, for a few years, since Brandon Johnson been in office, and how they're laundering and stealing that money, we've been shouting this for years about what's going on. And your aldermen, they have been complicit in voting on this, because they're getting their kickbacks with the TIF money. That's how they're, laundering the TIF money, and with the money they get from the 1.5 million they get every year for their wards. So it's no surprise. We're the ones getting screwed. Keep telling you all, but you all don't. You want to vote blue no matter who. And then you look at the red states. The red states are trying to figure out ways how to abolish property taxes, while your Democrats are figuring out ways how to keep taxing you with more taxes. This is why I keep saying you have to look at policies. You have to educate yourself on policies. If you don't, we're going to vote another Democrat in, and they're going to do the same thing, because these are their policies, okay? This is the Democrat policies. So we must flip Chicago red, because we have to get all of these people out of office, get an entirely new administration, and we must demand audits on all of these people, audits on every department, and we must hold these people accountable. Because if we don't, the citizens of Chicago and Illinois, we're going to be the new homeless. Keep playing with these Democrats, socialists, progressive Democrats. Keep playing with them.